This is the Rebel Author Podcast, where we talk about books, business, and occasionally bad words.
Well, hello, Sasha Black.
Hello, darling.
Did you just give me an idea of how you're feeling today? When I said, my first words were, hello, should I hit record? And she says, oh, fuck it.
Yeah, it's been a very Monday-ish Monday.
Oh, welcome to Tuesday. It's better over here. Tuesday will
right?
be fine.
I'm just
Tuesday's
hoping for a better
chill.
Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, it was like, I didn't realize. Okay, so we've been very good at like adulting routine. And so one of the days at the weekend we've been using for all the adulting.
I hate adulting.
And oh my God, it's such a waste of life. But this weekend we did not do that. And so come this morning, there were 7 piles of washing. Nobody had unloaded the dishwasher. The cat pissed on the floor. There was no PE kit. Nobody remembered that the PE kit had to go in because it's cross country day. There was a school meeting. Nobody had done a meal plan or a food shop. So it was a good morning. And guess where all of those responsibilities fell? I bet you can't guess. I bet you cannot guess.
I have no idea who that could be.
No.
Oh, no. So,
yeah. And then I have to, sorry, just because now we're ranting, you open that can of worms.
Rant away.
Ranting. And then I'm losing like 2 days out of the office this week, one of which I really want to lose because I'm going to take somebody for lunch who I'm desperate to talk to and pick their brains. But then there's an extra day for a family event that I'm not convinced I need or want to go to. And it came up very last minute. And so, you know, when it's just like, I've already not done any of the work things I was supposed to do today. And now I'm out of the office for 2 days. So I'm going to get 2 days when I come back. And then that first day when I come back, I'm just going to have to deal with admin because I wasn't in the office for 3 days, you know? Yeah. And so then it's like I get one working day this week. And I'm trying not to be bitter and resentful towards my one star review adulting life right now.
Well, you are very good at looking at 1 stars and pulling out the sexy
God,
pulling out the sexy bit. Can you what's the sexy bit of too much adulting? Like, is there anything in there?
Well, I mean, if I got some, I should not say that on the podcast.
if I actually know what you were going to say.
I am not going to say that on the podcast. Everyone can just imagine. Or
no, it's not.
Or preferably don't.
Sasha won't say. Tell me more about we'll have plenty of time to catch up on all the things, like our plans and stuff that we're going to talk about. But tell me about the person you're having lunch with. What kind of information are you going to get from this person?
So Joe, our dear friend Joe, encouraged me to go and interview a load of 7-figure authors about what they are doing, their business models, etc., etc. So that was.
Why does she have such good ideas?
She's
always
so clever.
They're so
I know.
obvious,
I love her. She's amazing.
But I would never think of them.
Right? I mean, of course, that's what you should do. Obviously, that's what you should do. Like, but no, like the obvious does not occur to me. So we've just come back from Vegas.
Oh, I don't want to hear all about that. Oh my God.
Yeah. It was very interesting. But that's what I did in Vegas. So I have come back. Okay, so it was the exact same conference without being the exact same conference. Like structurally, there were speakers speaking, right? That's what a conference is. So, and it was in the same venue. So in that respect, it felt identical. I still hate Vegas with a deep-seated passion. However, I think I may have some confirmation bias. I went to Vegas. I pre-planned Vegas with the intention of operating at a higher strategic level. I wanted business meetings. I wanted business discussions. So I then offered to take people for coffees, for dinners, for cocktails, in exchange for picking their brains. Mm-hmm. I then booked a load of business meetings. I met Podium. I met Kickstarter actually took me out for lunch. All of these different companies, and therefore, I came back from Vegas having had some extremely fruitful business meetings, like company meetings with other companies and services and providers, and some extremely high level, motivating, inspirational business discussions with people that didn't say things like, "How do you publish a book?" Like those conversations are great. Love those conversations, love helping people. But sometimes you have to help yourself. And in order for me to help myself, I needed to have conversations at a different level.
Well, especially when you take time out of your business and money out of your business in order to travel to go to something like that, that's a thing you are spending your money on in order to do your business better.
Yes. And I have never come away from a conference so motivated, ever. Full stop.
That's fantastic.
Mm.
How are you organizing? I feel like we could just talk for 7 hours about this, but like, how are you organizing what you're going to do next out of all this information that you're gleaning from the conference and from other interviews that you're going to be having with people? How are you putting that
You
into
are
action?
you are going to be like, who the fuck are you? And what did you do with Sasha? Because you know how like my modus operandi is like a 17-page, 2-column to-do list with all of the things.
Yeah. Yes.
I have 3 goals for next year.
That
That is
is
it.
incredible. All right, will you be able to share those with us?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah. So, one of the things that we said we were going to do was come up with a word, and I have failed on that part. I have
I
not,
actually
and
succeeded
maybe,
in that one.
oh, damn it. But
For
maybe in
once.
talking, I'll come up with it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
maybe that will happen. So I mean, hang on, before we do the goals and stuff, do you like, how was your month? Let's do, because otherwise it's just me talking. So how was your month?
My month was good. My month was I went to the gallery that was opening about with this artist. The gallery had
Oh,
been closed for 10
yeah.
years. I went to the all the fancy things and it was wonderful. And I went with Lala and we took the dog and it was like this, it was basically like one of my writing retreats, but I took Lala and the dog and it was so nice. And the dog's never gone anywhere with us. This was her first little trip and she did great. And I got COVID from those people. So
No.
which was such a bummer because I didn't know it. I just got a cold the next week and I thought, oh, those effers gave me COVID. And then I tested and tested and tested. It wasn't COVID. I was just feeling so sick. And then I got over my cold by sheer force of will and then did too much and then got sick again. And then eventually ended up testing positive for COVID, which then did not allow me to go to the Edith Collier weekend. It was this whole weekend at the gallery with so many events about who I'm writing about. And the 10 people there in the world plus her family that I would have gotten to meet. And I had like already sent emails of introduction to these people and say, I can't wait to meet you. I'm writing a book. So I didn't get to go. So I was a little bit bitter about that. Um, but all is well in that because that means I cannot get, I mean, knock wood, but I don't think you can get COVID twice within the same week, probably. Means I can go to Rarotonga for our hot holiday at the end of this week. So we're going on Sunday for the very first time. We're taking a hot holiday, thanks to you. Work-wise, I heard back. This was the big news. I heard back from my agent on The Fix, the memoir that I've been working on for so long, and she she wanted to kind of me to revise it perhaps in a direction I did not want to go in, even though I'd actually revised it to the place she wanted me to go and it's better because of it. Then she says, I don't like that idea. What if we take it over here? And I'm like, nope, that's it. That's too far. That's where I draw the line. I am self-publishing. And it was a very amenable conversation because it's a beautiful book now. I think she wanted it to be more, she wants it to be, I know she doesn't listen to the show. I love you, Susanna, but she wanted it to be more like angsty addiction bottom of the barrel, bottom of the elevator. What's the word? Rock bottom. That's the word. Um, and I don't have that. My whole story of addiction was being a woman who didn't think she had addiction problems because she wasn't at the rock bottom and how I got it from there. So we agreed to not take that book out, which pleases me so much. But can I tell you that I was a little bit hurt for like 24 hours?
I think
Isn't that
that's
so
allowed.
stupid? But it's so
No,
stupid because I
no.
wanted her not to want it. I had given it to her because she had thought about it and she'd given me revision advice that I loved and I took and got developmentally edited, etc. So therefore I felt like I do believe this, I owed it to her because she was working with me on this book. So I owed her the right of first refusal. And she basically, in her own words, refused it. And I allowed myself to mope for 24 hours. Because my sister pointed out to me too that not only was she rejecting this particular version of the memoir, but she was rejecting me because it's memoir, right?
Hmm.
I mean, not technically, I don't believe this, but in my heart, I think that's what I felt. So, and I practiced what I preach, which is I believe that every rejection, no matter what kind it is a reason for celebration, but I wasn't going to celebrate yet. I gave myself 24 hours. I got in bed. I pulled the covers over my head. I loaded TikTok onto my phone. Lala brought me the emergency Cadbury cream egg. And then she brought me a second one that she saved from Easter for me. And that's when you know it's bad. And she's had to do that a couple times recently. And I I I just stayed in bed doing literally nothing. I played video games and looked at TikTok for 24 hours and then I got out and I was like, "Oh my God, thank God I didn't want her to have this. This is the fix. This is the anchor point for that series of books that is coming after it. I will eventually change Unstuck into something like the home fix, getting unstuck or something like that. So they'll all fit under there. So I already have one in the series done. This one I can come out with almost immediately. It is fully edited. I just need the copy edit, which is already booked for January, I think, or maybe February.
Are you
Um,
going to kickstart it?
I'm going to Kickstarter for the audio, and this time I'm actually going to pay someone to do the editing of the audio because I can record it in a couple of weeks, but it takes me a couple of months to find all of the time it needs to edit all the ums and ahs and things out, and it's just not worth it for me.
Don't forget to have your unstuck first one as an add-on option
Perfect. Yes, 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 yes. Love
because
that.
that is a missed opportunity otherwise.
There, the thing about Kickstarters were those, and I remember Joe telling me this, like add everything on, add all the things that you like romances. Why would anybody buying Unstuck want any of my romances? Like I do, so they didn't because I didn't even believe enough to put them on there, but I should have.
That
Everything
was a
that I added on
mistake.
there, it was a mistake.
Yeah,
Like fashion,
because I would have ordered more of your books.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I would have ordered more.
And now that I've seen that people wanted everything put in there as an add-on, even if I didn't think it was relevant, I will put everything in there, like Joe
Yeah,
does. Like, yeah. So I will absolutely do that, and it'll be great. And then I'll launch it, and that'll be fantastic. And now I've gone through that process, and it's so much easier and lovely, and I'm super excited about that. So that's the big news around here as I'm moving forward. And I also have this
I,
really nice kind of downtime before the copy edit so that I can go record and get that underway.
I love it. I'm very excited for your next Kickstarter.
Thanks. I don't it's
Yeah,
not going to do what yours did, madam. But if it no matter what it does, it's just such a nice way to sell books to people
yeah,
who
it
really
is.
want them. And I really do like adding these the thing that I shockingly enjoyed the most that I did not expect out of the Kickstarter was I offered coaching, which I normally don't offer. And I loved coaching. I loved coaching because I don't have to coach anymore. And it was
Mm,
so much fun. So I think that I might just keep those as like a Kickstarter, bonus thing to put in there. Just a few, like I did last time. I just did a few, but the people who bought
yeah.
them were the best. They were like the best people that I already loved.
Oh, I
So
love that. I
yeah,
love that.
yeah,
Oh, I'm
good
excited for
stuff.
you. And also, you have that little twinkle as well. So it's really like I can tell that you're super excited about all these things and you've gone through that emotion cycle and you are firmly the other side of it.
Firmly the other side,
So,
but you have to allow
yeah.
yourself to, because I could have like, no, I'm fine. No, I could have pushed that emotion away instead of really leaning into it. And now I'm just really excited to, because I do want Susanna to be looking at the novel, because I feel like I don't want to self-publish novels. I'm not good at it. She can have the Edith book and hopefully she'll like it. But that's it. That's in the future. So
Amazing.
yeah.
So, 2025.
2025. You want to know my word?
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful one. It just came to me this morning. And it sounds a little cheesy now that I'm going to say it out loud. Bloom. Bloom.
Oh, I love
It's not
that.
even a grow year. I mean, I grow all the time. I've been growing. This is blooming. Look what's happening here. I've got two peonies from the grocery
Oh,
store
they're
because
so
they're my favorite flower.
pretty.
But this dahlia I grew myself and this rose and they're just and it's spring. It is the blooming time and I'm in spring. It's the blooming time and I've got a ton of projects that are gonna bloom.
I love that. I wish I could remember what my word for this year was.
I can't. Yeah, not a chance.
No, I know idea. No, no, literally none. Like I'm really
Oh, you know
trying
what I'm going to
desperately
do
hard.
today? I'm going to send
What?
myself an email, one of those boomeranged emails, to come into my inbox on November 1st or November 15th with this year's word so that I can
Oh, I
start
love
thinking
it.
about the next year's word.
What is that? How do you do
I
that?
use I
Boomerang.
use either SaneBox or Boomerang, or I might just put it on my calendar. But Boomerang is the one I usually use inside my email to just send email away to come back on a different day.
I think I'm going to put it, I've already got my planner for next year, so I might put it in my planner.
Perfect.
Put word in planner. Gonna do it. Amazing.
So tell me
So,
tell me about these three goals that you have.
well, okay, so I probably have to add one more thing in from Vegas. So my two big takeaways from Vegas were that I have no intention of doing ads. Very
Amazing.
controversial statement because I was coming towards the end of this year like, oh man, I'm gonna have to do ads if I want to level up. Like I'm gonna have to. And then I spoke to loads of people, and all I hear from people are they're spending a lot. And like a lot of them, they equate spending £1,000 and earning £2,000 as good. And that's fine. You're still making 100% ROI. But I spent 6 grand on ads, on just, bog standard AMS ads and earned multiple six figures. And I'm like, I feel like this is a different game. And I don't think I want to play that game where I'm having to spend out that much money. And if I do spend out that much money, I want it to be on the team that I'm building. And that was very interesting realization for me.
I would like to clarify something that might confuse people that you just said, because you did not spend 6 grand on ads and then made multiple figures from those ads. What you were actually, it
No,
sounded like that's what you meant. What you were actually
no.
saying was you spent 6 grand and you maybe made, 7 or 8 grand
Some,
on those ads, but you
well,
did
yeah.
not need to run ads to make that money. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, those ads are all profitable.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you what those ads made. Whereas I can tell you when I see a spike in views on Instagram or social or on TikTok or wherever, I can exactly correlate that to income earned. Um, and what Vegas did for me is it reminded me and showed me that for every seven-figure author, there is a different business model and a different method of them getting there. And there was one particular person who made seven figures just on their Shopify and does not use ads. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't need to use ads. I don't even want to use ads. So I'm not going to use fucking ads. So that was it. That was like the dot, that was the cut and dry. And look, if I
This
have
was a
to,
book person. A book person made that on Shopify.
an author, a female author,
Fiction or
made seven
nonfiction?
figures, fiction,
Holy
seven
crap.
figures on their Shopify alone. That is not talking about however much else money they've made anywhere else. Um, so I was like, yeah, I don't think I need to do ads. Um, so that was the first one. That was the first, very, very clear. And look, I am not so stuck and naive to think that one day I might have to do ads. I might have to do ads one day, but I am going to do everything in my power not to have to do them first. And then if I have to do them, fine. Um, but it felt like a relief because for a long time I was like holding on to that decision. And when you hold on to a decision, it carries physical, tangible weight. And then once you've made the decision, that weight evaporates. So
Mhm.
that's no longer. The decision is no ads unless I absolutely have to. Um,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Hold that thought. But have we actually heard you say, and you may have, and I've forgotten, but I know we've talked about it personally, but have you said into the air on this show that after now being a six-figure author, the next obvious goal is seven figures, correct?
100% correct.
Because the
Oh,
last time we talked about it, you were like, you almost had that. Well, how I could,
okay,
how,
okay.
what?
I tell you, yes, I was exactly like that. So here's where I've reconciled it. I am 37. I will be 38 in March. I want seven figures by the time I'm 40.
Love this.
Because I was talking to Ellie and I couldn't like I have eh, since 20 since since February I launched 2023 to now I have 10x'd. So it's just about 18 months I've 10x'd. Um, but holding on to the belief that I could 10x again in that amount of time is very hard because you have to have you almost have to be delusional. And funnily enough, one of the authors was talking about the fact that if you want to be a seven-figure author, you need to be delusional. And that almost gave me permission to be delusional. But also, I've done a lot of coaching and a lot of therapy in order to be realistic. So
Hmm. Hmm.
that kind of like meted that back out again. So what I thought was like, well, maybe I can do a jump, right? So we can do X next year, Y the year after, and the following year is when, or whatever the however many years it is, and then we step up. So that felt more realistic, and I have to be able to like tangibly grip onto the goal, like and to that figure. I have to be able to hold it and for it to feel real. And jumping from where I am to seven figures did not feel real. And it's not that I don't believe that I could do it. It's just that I guess we have to take those limiting beliefs off step by step.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Um, So, sorry, my kid is asking me if he's eaten enough dinner.
He has
A
not.
little bit more.
Tell him from Auntie
Yes,
Rachel a little more.
right. So yeah, I that is my goal is seven figures by 40. Whether or not I will do it, I don't know, but I'm gonna fucking try. So
Yes, and also
that is
I love that you have a plan. It is not the net because most people when they say seven-figure author, they they're not a three-figure author yet, right? They don't have a plan of how to do that and what that looks like in terms of
mhm.
scaling, in terms of actual mental, physical pressure. And you've thought about all that.
And I'm so utterly serious about this that my wife is already called wife. She married a seven-figure author. I shouldn't say this out loud, but all my passwords are oriented around that.
Right.
Every night before I go to bed, I close my eyes and I kind of like meditate myself into sleep, already talking about how wonderful it is to be a seven-figure author and how safe I feel and how, all of the good things, right, that you feel already living that life. I'm like, I've gone extreme on the woo-woo books. Like I am deadly, deadly serious about making this happen. Whether or not the woo-woo works or not, it helps to rewire the brain. So I don't,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yep. I
so
like to, I believe in both. I believe the brain is doing it all, and I believe the
mm,
universe is doing it all at the same time.
yeah, exactly.
And that's fine. The brain is the
Yeah,
universe.
exactly, exactly. Well, mind is reality, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's kind of where I am. So yes, that is the ultimate goal is to be seven figures. But I'm kind of thinking 2027
Thank you for saying
feels
it out
realistic.
loud with such confidence. This has changed since the last time you like melted down, the last time you thought in my presence about being able to say that.
When was that? Was that last month?
It, it might have been before last month because I don't think it came up last month and it may have been it may have even been at the conference.
Yeah, okay. I really feel like I have come quite far, even in the last month, and Vegas was a huge part of that. Like just
Yeah.
so for me, I know lots of people really struggle with comparisonitis, but whenever I see somebody succeeding, oh my goodness me, it just gives me hope. I'm just
That's the
like, well, if
best
they
thing
can
for
do it,
me.
yeah,
I love saying that must be my competition too. When I see
it
anybody
is.
do even the hardest thing, I'm like, whoa, that means
Yeah.
I can.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, fuck yes, you go do that because that means I can do it, right?
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I will go even further. Like I want to be the first lesbian indie author to get to number one in the store. I don't believe I've seen anyone else do that. I've seen Sarah Kate get an FF FFM book to 7 in the store. I haven't seen an indie author get to 1, unless I'm mistaken. I would love somebody to correct me if they have done it,
Hmm.
but if they haven't done it, I'm going to do it.
I love that, and we will celebrate the day that you do
Yes,
that.
we will. Yes, we will. I feel sick saying that out loud. It's actually it's fine because I
It's
do, but it is, you know, I know I don't give a shit if people are going to judge me. I am going to do it, and that's the end of it.
nobody on
You
this
can
show is
see,
judging you. Literally
no,
nobody on
but
this show. Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
all up
yeah,
here, isn't it? Like it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
psychology of saying these things out loud, and But anyway, I
Okay,
did my goals.
okay.
So do you
So we
want
have
to? Should we do one for one?
yes, yes, yes,
Let's
yes.
do one
Wait,
for
but
one.
did we get through those three things that you came away from the three goals, or do these fit
Oh,
into those? You said no
oh,
ads.
oh. Okay, yes, no ads. And then no, so it was only two things. It was the no ads, but then you asked about the 7-figure goal. So it was
Oh,
no ads, and then the second one is e-commerce. I have realized that on an average month, 30% of my income comes from physical products, like so physical books or whatever. On a viral month, it can go up to 50, and that does not include Kickstarters, which were a huge chunk of money this year.
mm-hmm,
So when you look at it like that, actually, I'm running a physical product business, which means I'm running an e-commerce business.
mm-hmm.
So with that in mind, I'm maybe not going to talk about the detail of what I'm planning to do on air. I will give you the goals, but then I will talk about it once I've done it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm
Okay.
happy to talk about it on air. But yeah, so that is the framework, is that I kind of realized that I'm running an e-commerce business alongside the creativity, and that is different than just being an author.
It's very different. It's
It's
very
very different.
to the point where my brain goes, no, thank you.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely not.
Whereas I'm like, yeah, okay, because that might be the way that we get to 7 figures, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, very, very cool.
I'm very
Oh,
excited
amazing.
for
All
next
right.
year.
Okay. So let's talk goals.
Yes. You first. You go first. Number one. What's
Mine's
your number
easy
one?
is kickstart the fix and get it out there. And let's
Okay.
say if I get the copy is done in, let's say launch in March, for end of March delivery. That's my goal.
Amazing.
Yep.
My first goal is get ahead creatively. So
Mm.
good would be 6 months ahead of publication schedule. Better would be 8 months ahead of publication schedule. And best would be 12 months ahead of publication
Ooh.
schedule.
12 months would be so relaxing, wouldn't it?
Can
So
you
how are you going
imagine?
to actually fit that in?
Mm.
Sasha's face just lost color.
Why did you have to ruin it? Like we were having such a lovely, friendly debate, and you just had to knife me. Um, by saying no a lot, by recognizing I'm gonna have to get comfortable with FOMO and JOMO, by handing off everything I possibly can, potentially recruiting more people, and by faking discipline, to be perfectly honest. Faking some
Fake,
discipline.
faking discipline honestly works.
I really need to, because like today should not have happened the way that today happened. Um, and it was a very good reminder that I am not going to get ahead creatively if I allow the amount of life interruptions to interrupt me.
May I present a complimentary a place to look at that?
Mm.
Because I am really sorry to tell you this, but you do not control the universe, unfortunately. Um, how can you
Rachel,
build in
when
a
will you
little?
learn the universe does bend the knee to me?
That is that is true, but not to laundry. It just it may
Great.
bend a knee to you, but not to laundry. So where? how can you also build in a little space, a little room for grace? Because faking discipline when you do not have the time or the energy, the spoons, but if you built in a little grace, that little a little breathing space. May I encourage thinking about it just a little bit extra? I always like to build in a little bit more buffer room than I think I will need.
In what respect? You mean in terms of deadlines?
Hmm.
I'm not on deadline right now.
Okay.
This is a problem. This is actually the problem. No, no, no. Seriously.
Yeah.
What Ellie
Especially if you've
encouraged me
got
to
the
do,
goals of being ahead, then you have to have a
right,
deadline in order to
right.
be hitting that.
So what Ellie said was take longer to do the outline. So she was like, instead of having 2 weeks, do it in four in order
Hmm.
to give myself intellection space.
Hmm.
That's great. But what has actually happened is I've just allowed
I know.
everything into that space. So that method isn't working. It's not that I don't need extra space. I do, but this I've got to find a different method of it working. Yes, I'm not really in charge of the production schedule anymore. So we've already pushed back the release date for a book that nobody even knows exists yet in order to give more time.
Good. Well
Um,
done.
and both should be done so it's a duology, and both should be done by the time the first one comes out. So that's already, giving more time and space. And I'm kind of not really allowed to set the deadlines. I get to beat the deadlines though, right? That's now the game that I'm playing
Perfect.
is beat the deadlines. Yeah.
Okay.
So it is, I've got a couple of people kind of looking out for me and not allowing that. But also if things aren't pressured enough, I lose motivation. Like
Yeah.
I'm just sat here getting frustrated now because they're
Yeah. Yeah.
because we're not going fast enough. Um, so yeah, there is definitely a balance to be struck,
I think you're
I
doing really
think.
well with the balance. You've been learning so much about balance, what is too
I
much and what is
have.
not enough. So I think
Yeah,
you're headed the right direction. However, I will just remind you that shit goes off the rails. Life gets lifey.
I know.
And you
I
can't, I mean,
know.
and most of the time you can't control those things. Most of the time you will be on top. But when things happen, also, maybe you'll hear my voice in your head saying, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is okay because, the deadline I'm not even meant to start writing until January,
It is November as we record, people. Yeah.
right?
It is
There's
literally
too much
okay.
time. I'm trying to cram in a 20K novella. I'm like, I'm getting pissy because I'm like, I want this outline done because I want to do this 20K novella. Because if I
What's
don't do
the
it before
novella
Christmas,
for?
okay, I get
The
asked
bonus?
constantly
Yeah.
for this one particular
Ah,
scene that wasn't in the last series. And um, but in order to do it, I kind of have to make it a novella. And in order to do that, I need the time and space to do it and the inclination. And if I don't do it before we launch the Kickstarter, it's not happening. And if I don't do it before Christmas, it's not happening because the new book, which I nearly just said the name, but the new book becomes the priority.
yeah.
So yeah, it's like either I do it this side and I want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
You'll do it.
Anyway,
You'll do it.
what's goal two?
Goal two. This is like a multifaceted goal, so you'll love it. But have you read, you know that I love Mike Michalowicz and AJ Harper.
Yes.
They wrote Profit First,
Yes.
and which I love. They wrote a book that I have been reading and fixated on, which is called Fix This Next, which is a fantastic book. When one has a business, and they're not talking to writers, they're talking to everyone with a business. But basically, it has this, Maslow's, I can never say his name, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that pyramid. Um, Basically, their premise is like everybody is looking up at the point of the pyramid saying seven figures, but they haven't done any of the building down here, right? Which you have been doing, which people who are in this for the long haul try to do. And he fucked my shit up by like there's all of these levels to this pyramid that gets you to where you want to be. And the bottom level is sales of your shit that will support you. And there are five things that you need to look at. So basically, on every tier, you look to see what things are absolute there. He gives you a list of things that are absolutely necessary for each tier. And then you cross off what you're doing and what you're not doing. And if you have not crossed off everything on the bottom tier, you don't move up to the next tier. And the top tier is like living your best life in freedom and harmony, exactly the way you want to do it. But you can't pass sales. Like, I'm so good. I'm doing all this sorts up. I'm doing tons of stuff up here in the top of the pyramid. But sales, the five things, I just happen to have them written out here, are the number one is, okay, I'll start off with the two of the five things that I do. Do I collect on commitments? Do I basically take money for what I do? Yes. Do I deliver on commitments? Do I deliver products, books, or classes or whatever it is on commitments? Yes, I do those things. But the other things are lifestyle congruence, which means, do you make enough money to pay your bills? Not crossed off, not for selling books. It does, for my entire business, yes. But I want to make more money selling books. I have a huge backlist, which I do nothing with. Nothing. And last year, before I started teaching this last round, I was focused very hard on trying to make better covers, getting everything set up so that I could start to make money on the backlist. And then I got busy with teaching and haven't finished that. So I would like to make money on the book. So I'm not doing that yet. Prospect attraction, which means, however you find readers, and client conversion. Do you convert enough of those people that you're attracting in order to hit your lifestyle congruence, which is the money you need? So a very large goal. I'm just gonna pack a couple goals in here, and then you tell me a couple goals. But is to get people buying the old series, people who've never seen it before. It's super easy to do, and really directing them to my Shopify store first and foremost in big bundles. And then the other one that goes with this is that I have those 3 women's fictions that I love that are absolutely out of print, that are making no money anywhere. No one can buy them. And I've been like, oh, how am I going to get them into audiobook fast enough? And I would really love to pressure myself because those have never been released on audiobook and everybody always wanted them. So I'd love to record those myself, hire somebody to do all the editing for the audio, and then do a large Kickstarter for those 3 books all at once. They haven't been out in 10 years and they're beautiful books. They're some of the best books I've ever written. So that would be directly getting money from sales, money from books that I have written that I do not have to write. Does that make sense?
Yes, I fucking love that because when you look at like the trad business model, isn't it something ridiculous like 70% of their income is
Yeah,
from backlist?
it is 70. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the same for most indie authors as well.
It's
Like
the
if I
indie
look,
authors who have thought about it. And for me, it's not because I don't spend time working on it. Yeah.
if I look at this year, I'm just having a look. Yeah, like I could do the actual math, but so my top seller is the book one in this vampire series, but the second bestseller is book one in the other series.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So really I find but I try to so this was another thing that somebody said in Vegas, and they were talking about the fact that they had like 60 books and 3 of them spearheaded their income. And so they spend like 80% of their time marketing those 3 books
Hmm.
and 20% of their time marketing everything else, which
Yep.
and I know you're
Sky
not going
Warren
to
already
TikTok.
always talks about that too. She does
Yeah,
a very
yeah.
similar thing. Yeah.
I know you're not going to TikTok, but this person was talking about the fact that if you look at TikTok, if you have something that converts and you continue to market it, it continues to sell. And I was like, that's one of those very obvious things where, like, if you see something selling, it will always sell if you continue to market it. But
Yeah.
what we do is we get very excited about the new thing and we forget about the thing that was working.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Sky Warren talks about that, how she always goes back to these very similar ads for a bunch of her book ones in the series because they just continually convert and she's always tweaking. I know, and I know you're not going to do ads, but it's
But
the
I
same
do reuse
idea with
hooks.
TikTok. Hmm.
Yeah, it is exactly the same thing. I reuse hooks constantly because they work. Like, it's the same thing over and over and over again, but it works. So why would you not keep doing it? Like, so
Hmm.
yeah, I love that. And it's funny because I've just decided to bring across my nonfiction into my Ruby Shopify, but nothing on the front page. We're just going to have a tab that says for writers because
Yes.
because why would I
Perfect.
not? Because there are
There's
some
no
people,
reason not to.
there's no reason not
Negative,
to.
negative reason. Yep.
Yeah, it won't be marketed particularly.
Hmm.
It's not going to be on the front page, but it will be there for people who are interested and it might catch their eye. But there's no reason not to do it. And I was just like, we're not doing it. And also, the nonfiction used to sell. So why are we not like it's never going to make me what the Ruby's making me, but it used to sell. Like,
Yeah.
so I have literally just said we are going to promote the backlist because we're not doing that. So I love that you're going to do that. I absolutely love
Fabulous.
it.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And going
It's
along with that is
sustainability as well.
it's sustainability, and going along with that is, and I have started doing this already, but and this comes from a conversation that I had with Ellie about, are you surviving, thriving, or flying? And I've been in survival mode financially for a while. And I want to work to thriving and then flying. And flying to me means I'm making so much money. I'm making enough money that I'm also putting away gobs of money for retirement. I'm doing all the right things as well as just surviving and thriving. Um, but working backwards from the number that I want and then converting that to sales of books and trying to hit that. You know,
That's what I
cla
did.
yeah, and classes are great. Classes are my day job while I'm working on this, and I love, 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 love teaching. But I've always wanted to be making more money from the backlist, and so for not just trying to increase it, but trying to increase it to a certain level. That's exactly what you did too.
Yes. So, Russell and Monica have just
Hmm.
got their Kickstarter, the 8333. And
I don't
when
know
my
that.
goal was,
What's
oh,
that?
I think it may be done. I think it's
Oh
done,
no.
but they'll release the book anyway.
Yeah.
It's a compilation of everything that they've done, but the book's called 8333. Why? Because if you want to earn 100 grand a year, it's 8,333 a month.
Oh,
Right? Yeah,
nice.
it's genius. But I already knew that because I'd done the
Hmm.
math.
Hmm.
And I knew like roughly what that would equate to. I think it was like 271 a day, I want to say. I can't let me go and do the math live because otherwise I'm gonna get divided by yes. Okay, so 833 divided by okay, so if it's 31 days, it's 268, and if it's 30 days, it's 277, which is why I think I came up with 271 in my head, because that
Yeah.
was sort of like in between
Yeah.
the two. So I knew it was around 270 something a day. That's what you need in order for it to hit 100 grand. So I'm always like a new business venture needs to make 8333 a month, which is about 270 odd a day. So I know those figures because I hold on to them. And so that means that I think it's like 3,000, or is it then? Okay, so let's do a million because live on air, divided by
I love writer's
365.
math. Writer's math
Yes.
is the best kind of math.
Yeah. So like the 270, it's £2,739 a day to make a million.
Wow. And people are doing
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I've had days where I've done that. I mean, they were probably launches or like mini micro launches, but I've had days where I've done that. So I'm like, well, I've done it once, I can do it. I can make that the average.
Absolutely. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. That is
I,
great. That is great.
so I love I love that we talked about that particular number because my second goal is about selling direct. And
Mhm.
so there's a part A and a part B. The part B is Kickstarter, the part A is Shopify. So my goal is to double the Shopify turnover and therefore double the Shopify profit, net profit. Very
Mhm.
clear about that. Um, I'm at month 11, so I have not done a full year. And on month 11, stand by, please. I'm pretty sure I did the numbers earlier. And I think yes, I think I'm on 56,000 for my first year. I want to say. I'm sorry, I should have probably done this a bit better. So yeah, my goal will become,
That's
sorry,
amazing. On Shopify. That is incredible. And we're talking pounds, people.
£56,671 is what I've done on Shopify since December the 13th. So I'm literally a couple of weeks away. So I think what I will end up with is about 50, between 57 and 60,000 for the first year. So my good goal is 100K, which is
Hmm.
where the 833 comes from.
Hmm.
The better goal is 120. The best goal, because I'm a petty bitch, is 151,670 because that's a certain someone's salary who was really mean to me. And I am nothing if not admittedly petty. And the best goal, the golden egg is what I like to call it, is 175,001 penny. Um yes. So the
Fabulous.
reason I'm excited for 8333 is because I think I might do it this month. Yeah. I'm like, with the amount of days we've got left this month, I am currently on, I think it's like, yeah, 7836. Oh, it just became my best month ever. Love that. Uh,
On Shopify.
7,836 English pounds on Shopify this month.
Well, and that's much more than 8333 US dollars, by the way, for those listening. So
Yes,
congratulations, you already crossed that. And I know you think in Great British pounds and you continue
I
to do
do.
so. But when you do, I'm always like, oh my God, that's like add another third or whatever it is.
Yeah. So, and then the Kickstarter part B, good will be to beat the last one. So, like, let's just say 56,000. Better
Lord,
would
I
be
would think that would
seven.
be great. I love that it's your
Well,
good. I
I
love that
know.
it's your good. That's your competition there.
Because I have to beat the last one, right? Like, so that becomes the standard. Like, beat the last one is the first goal.
Yeah.
And even if I beat it by one penny, I'll be fucking thrilled, like
Yeah.
absolutely thrilled.
Yeah.
1p counts in my world. Better would be 75. Best is 100K, six-figure Kickstarter. I mean, seriously, I can't tell you how hungry I am for next year. I
I would
know.
love to see you have a six-figure Kickstarter.
Wouldn't that be cool? Oh
I
my
mean, that
God,
would
I
be
can't
so cool.
even.
All of this stuff is so cool for you, my friend. Super happy, but also just all the lesbians out there. Just making people happy. And
Like,
non-lesbians
seriously.
alike, but like, but just the niche that you're in is just so fantastic. Ugh, it's so cool.
Thanks. So yeah, that's my second one. And of course, under there, like I love that you were talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because I'm like, there are some base things with my Shopify that are not sorted, like emails, like dropped cart emails and stuff like that. So
Exactly. All of this stuff is on my list. A dropped cart is
yeah,
particularly on my list.
but those
Yeah.
things are allowed because
Mhm.
that directly supports that goal. And this is
That's the
kind of
thing.
how I'm measuring everything. Like, this is how I determine if I'm saying yes or no. Is it going to directly affect this goal? If it directly affects this goal, we can do it. If it doesn't, we're not doing it.
That's why the book that's I think you might like Fix and I don't know. I don't know if you would like this Fix and Stick
I
because
have
you're
already written
doing
it
it.
down.
But yeah, yeah, it's I mean and they're such good writers together. But the thing is I tend to be a little bit airy in my head and thinking like what am I doing next in terms of my goals? So excited about this Edith book. Can't wait to be writing it. That is doing nothing to I'm up here but I don't have the base. I need to and I have the ability and the product and the brain cells to do the base. I don't have the time, but I need to take the time from somewhere. And I lied to you last time. I said, I was like, what did I got off the air? I'm like, what did I say? I said to you that I have 6 months off after teaching this class. I don't, I have 3 months off. I teach in 6 month cycles, which is where I got that. So as of the end of this week, we'll have our hot holiday, and then I'll have 3 months to go head down. And my natural nature goes, oh, I could write my, full book and get it edited in 3 months. Or I could write a lot of the book for fun and be concentrating on my deep focus work time during the day on bolstering the sales, on doing all of the little things that build the sales up and then watching that change.
Okay, so question of the
Please.
goals that you've mentioned so far,
Mhm.
which one is one? If you had to drop everything else, which one's one?
Uh, Well, that's such a good question. I think it is still the fix. My gut is the fix, getting the Kickstarter out and doing that. I'm like, should it be? But yes, that goes to sales. That goes right to bottom line sales. So fix, and then getting the three published pre-published books out, which is hard for me because I could put those off indefinitely because it's not new work. Um, but it should
What
also
of
be
that can
working
you
on the other books.
outsource?
I'm
But what of that can you outsource?
just gonna write that down. What can I outsource of these things? Um,
Because because if it's going to generate you money, you
mhm.
can afford to invest in getting that product, those three products to market quicker.
I have thought about outsourcing the audio for that, but the last audiobooks I paid for out of pocket took years to earn out, and I don't want to do
Okay,
that.
so
So I
so
don't want to
then
outsource the
what
audio, but I will outsource
of
the
your
editing.
yes, but what of your other work can you or the sales stuff can you outsource in order to give yourself the time to do the audio sooner?
It's a great question, and I'm going to look at that because Lala actually needs some work to do right now too, and
So, well, she can be a backlist marketing machine then.
she will. I will never tell her that you said that. She will lie down and cry in the middle of the freeway. But I mean, no, that's fantastic. We'll just work on that together because I'm already using and abusing my assistant, and I can't afford to pay him anything extra. And he does so much for me, so I can't ask Ed to do anything more. But this backlist marketing, Lala would actually be good at it. And I
Well,
had
a lot of
asked,
it is
yeah,
just
yeah.
organization and
Uh-huh.
scheduling.
Well, she's not very good at that, but you know what? She's okay at it. She can.
Yeah, something is better than nothing.
Something is better than nothing. Thank you for reminding me of that I have in-house counsel and I can go use it. And that is yes. And so yeah. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Anything else on your list? We should wrap it up. We've almost been here an
Yes,
hour.
there is one last goal. So I've given you my two. So the
Yep.
first one was be ahead creatively. The second one is double kind of Shopify and direct sales. And then the third one is because I'm not doing advertising, double content production and slash output. So
That sounds like a lot.
yeah, I'm not going
How
to
are
do it
you
though.
going to do? Okay, great. Good.
I'm not doing it.
Thank God.
So I'm setting the strategy.
Yep.
One thing that I have learnt, having had my Instagram and TikTok explode over the last year, is that it doesn't matter how many times you say stuff. You still get asked the same question every single day or the same three questions every day. People don't read the captions. Doesn't matter how many times you say it, you can still say it more times and new people will see it. So I'm creating a standardized set of kind of um, backlist marketing, a set of posts that can go out, maybe 60 days worth of posts that can go out on repeat, which basically talk about answering all the questions we get asked all the time that, repeat the message about Shopify, that repeat the message about the series bundles or whatever, repeat all of that stuff. And then, so that will then be like on repeat, so they'll go out 6 times a year.
And
And
these are
then
primarily where? On TikTok or on like newsletter
so it'll
or
be those will
Instagram?
all be Instagram, and then I will use those templates to do stuff on TikTok. But TikTok has a bit of a different strategy anyway, so that comes back to more of the reusing the same hooks.
Hmm.
Um, Potentially setting up a new account if I do TikTok shop. Um, but I will be outsourcing a lot more to Instagram because I have somebody who does Instagram. So yeah, essentially setting up. I don't want to talk about it too much. I'll
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about it off there. But yeah, basically doubling content output on social media, but not having me do it. Basically,
Fabulous.
is
I love Hank Green always talks about it that he just records videos and then sends them to his person. And they do
yes,
all
yeah,
of the processing, the uploading, all of that, which I
hmm
just thought was genius if you can have somebody do
yeah,
that for you. Yeah.
yeah. Well, there are lots of stuff like that.
These are fantastic. No
Yeah.
ads, but doubling down on being you online.
Yes. Yes. Well, this person who did 7 figures does 6 posts a day on social. They obviously don't,
Right, 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 right.
but would 6 posts a day be worth multiple 7 figures?
Fabulous. Yes, of course. Even I would do it.
Right? I was like, why the fuck are we only posting once a day? What is wrong with us? Like, if one post a day got us this much money, why the hell wouldn't we be posting more than that? Like, it was
Yeah.
such the whole conference was like a lot of like moments to me. Like
But I think you can
anyway.
only get those moments in your soul when you're ready to get those moments in your soul. You can hear them
Yes.
a million times before and they won't mean it until you're there.
Yes, in here it says something along the lines of you only hear the message when you're ready to hear the message or something
Yes.
along those lines. Um obviously I now can't find it, of course, but anyway, I'll text it to you because it was like one of those moments where I was like, "Oh my goodness me, yes, of course." Um
And
and
the
you know,
cool
I
thing
can't
is
find
that when we're talking about this and we're talking to our friends out there in Listenerlandia, our messages are hitting differently to different people. Some people are going to hear
Yes.
one thing and another person is going to hear the other thing. They're going to hear the exact right thing for them. And I think that's
Yes,
part of the magic
exactly.
too, you
Yeah, I can't
know?
find it. Never mind, whatever.
Send me the quote when you
Yes,
find
I
it.
completely agree. Yeah, I will. I will. But
Okay,
yeah,
and
amazing.
your assignment by the next time we see each other will be to come up with a word for your year. I want to know your word.
I always circle back to relentless.
That's a good word for Sasha Black.
It is, isn't it?
Do
Like
you want to go a little bit? Oh, go on.
relentless pursuit of the dream, I think.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, relentless
That's
pursuit of the dream.
oh, that's you have a phrase of the year.
Phrase of the year. I may finesse it
Oh.
at a later date, but I'm feeling like next Ellie thinks I've got another year of being tested. Through this growth and then she thinks it will settle, but she thinks it's because of the plans I've got in place, which I'll talk to you about afterwards. She was like, it's going to be another year, and I was like, oh. And she
She's
was like,
our
well, you're the one who
oracle.
keeps sending the girls, and I was like, I know.
I'm
But
so
yeah.
excited about this. I'm so excited about it. Next month, do you want to talk about it a little bit more granularly? I would love to do some like and I know some people won't listen to next month's episode till a month after that, but like we could talk about like what months look like, what or quarters or break it down if you like that kind of thing.
Yes, I do like that kind of thing. I think that I may not want to do that until April because of reasons that I will tell you after
Totally
the
fine.
show.
Okay.
But
Oh,
then maybe I will.
okay.
But that's a new
Excellent.
tax year. I don't know when your tax year ends. When does your tax year end?
Oh, I have 2 tax years and it's
Oh,
bullshit. It took me almost 4 months to do my taxes for the United States based on the New Zealand stuff. And I have gotten 2 massive tax bills, which is why I might be teaching a little bit earlier this year than I wanted to. But yeah, there's just it's so I have a year-to-year tax year, January to December for US and then a April to end of March for New Zealand. And making
that's
those
what ours
align
is.
is a nightmare.
Horrendous.
I'm ready to
Mm.
revoke citizenship. Although that's like a 3-year waiting period and it costs $4,000.
To revoke US citizenship.
Yes. And if you make more than, I think it's maybe like more than $120,000 a year for X number of years, then you'll still have to pay taxes for forever, basically. Like they're so punitive. They're so punitive. Another story for another day. All right, my love. This
Yes.
was super, super
Okay.
fun. Thank
Okay.
you.
See you next
Bye.
month. Bye.
Don't forget to tune in and subscribe on your podcatcher. And when you have a moment, please leave a review.